One of the biggest IT outages of all time just happened. Crowdstrike, a cybersecurity company most people have never heard of, released a faulty driver update on Windows. The consequences of that mistake were drastic. Banks, airlines, TV stations, and hospitals have all been affected by this outage. I can only mention a few of the affected organisations here, just because it would take a very long time to talk about all of the cases. So, Turkish Airlines were forced to cancel some of their planes to avoid disruption. Sky News and CBBC, the BBC's children's channel, were both unable to broadcast on TV in the UK temporarily. 911 was down in all of New Hampshire. There were also 911 outages in Alaska, Arizona, Florida, Indiana, Kansas, Michigan, Minnesota, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. The Crowdstrike driver which caused all of these issues was for the Falcon sensor piece of software. This bug only affected Windows users, so if you were on Linux or Mac and you were running this software, you would not have been affected. And the bug itself caused computers to enter a blue screen of death and boot loop, unless you booted your device into safe mode. Crowdstrike has said that these issues have been caused by a quote, content deployment related issue, end quote, and they have now reverted the changes so the Crowdstrike Falcon sensor program with the faulty update should hopefully be fixed now. So if you didn't encounter any of those issues previously and you run that piece of software, you should be in the clear now. It has been 4 years since the shutdown of Essential, and now we are seeing some of their prototype Essential gem phones on the market, and it appears that you can buy one, and it appears that these prototypes are selling for around $165. And this is, of course, the phone that they were hyping up back in 2020, and now you can try it. And this was the phone that Essential were hyping up before they eventually went bust back in 2020. But now we can actually see what the finished product might have looked like if it had eventually got to market. However, of course, this is just a prototype, so there will be some quirks because it wasn't a finished product. And of course, you sort of expect that with a prototype, so there's no real surprise there. Now, of course, this is a pretty cool prototype phone, so I imagine there will be some demand for these phones. So of course, if you want to get one of these prototype phones before they become more expensive, now might be a good opportunity. Because yeah, if there's a lot of demand for these and it turns out there's not that many of these prototypes, then $165 might seem like a very reasonable sum. Anyway, that's our fun Android story for the week. Now, Google are adding Cash App as a new payment method in the Google Play Store. So this will now be a feature on Android. And Cash App now has been around for more than a decade. It has become a bit of a household name in the payment space. And now Google are moving to support it with Google Play. They say that they're doing this to meet consumers' quote, evolving payment preferences, end quote. So it is interesting to see Google moving to add another payment option for users of Google Play. And of course, this seems like a fairly logical partnership for Google. So there was a huge Google Pixel 9 leak after the NCC, which is the Taiwanese version of the FCC, performed tests on the devices. And apparently they got lots of information such as battery life, charging rate, and even what the phones look like. And now, probably because of these leaks, Google has just decided that they're going to already confirm the existence of this device. So they have announced that on August the 13th, they will have an announcement for the Google Pixel 9 series. They have teased Gemini integration, so that will be definitely a feature for the Pixel 9 Pro. And this mainly keeps to the tradition of Google confirming the existence of phones after they're leaked. And it's an interesting strategy from Google, which not that many other smartphone makers take. Nvidia has announced the R560 driver release. They will be transitioning with R560 to fully open source GPU kernel modules. That is a big change for Nvidia. However, if you are running an older Nvidia card, you will still have to use the proprietary monolithic drivers. However, even if you are using a supported card, you will also need the proprietary firmware blobs according to the tech site The Register. Overall, I think this is a positive change for Nvidia, and it will definitely be a welcome change for Linux users, because of course Nouveau drivers were the open source Nvidia option. However, they were often not as performant as the proprietary drivers, in fact often quite significantly so. And now it will be interesting to see what happens with Nouveau, especially if Nvidia move to fully open source the drivers and firmware blobs. So thank you guys so very much for watching. So if you enjoyed today's video, you can subscribe to get the latest tech news content every week, every Saturday. And if you really did enjoy the video, you can also share it. And thank you for watching once again. Goodbye.